So just a heads up on JOLTS. Did the email say 9 o'clock? I'm so making so many mistakes these days. Did you see the way I spelled the word report on the email? Like REP, RPOT, art, that was insane. It was as if a man with dementia. I thought we were 9:15 this morning. Let me triple check. You might be right. You know what? I'm never late. I'm showing 9:15 on the WMM, so way to coordinate. I definitely did a great job this week. Great job this week. It's two mistakes already. Not happy about it. Let's get cracking, then we'll start. Let me just get the stream going. Roz, you said 9:15. Calvin says 9 in the email. It's possible that I goofed in the email. It is possible. Usually, I look at the WMM to send emails. I just to double check myself. I don't trust myself, if you know what I mean. What's I don't know anything anymore. Let me just check the stream. It looks weird on my laptop. Looks like it's working. Okay, I'll assume the stream is working. Let me give you a heads up about JOLTS anyway. Oh, here's somebody. That's insane. Great. Couldn't you send me a correction yesterday so I could have fixed it? You know, it's like, in all honesty, I'm not making excuses, but I'm making excuses. If you knew how many things I do during the day for this company, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. You would not believe me. I send the morning email. I try to send the morning emails every morning, always at 7 a.m. So there's consistency. So you know what the trade room schedule is. You always know the email comes at 7. The only time it's a different time is when there's early earnings or an early report, a report that obviously if you get the email, it'll be too late to come to the room. So I'll send it earlier. Sometimes I'll send it the day before also. All right, let's get cracking. I'm late, I'm early, I don't know. It doesn't matter. We do our best. That's all you can do. I'm not getting fired at the moment, so you're stuck with me. Spelling errors or not. Okay. Welcome everyone to the Market Open and the JOLTS Report and the Pro Trade Room Plus. My name is Lee Goldstein, the Trading Director for 10-Minute Trades. Please remember, all the trades we discuss for educational purposes. I'm not a financial advisor. It's possible to lose money trading futures. All right. Let's set up our market open trades. We've got two market open trades and we have JOLTS. We've got an MNQ or an NQ. It's up to you. You can use on the market open. I've been using the MNQ. I like the MNQ. Today, yesterday, as I explained, is one of my favorite kind of market opens. It was a market open filled, pushed by news, right? Pushed by news. And what do I mean when I say that? So, first off, it was the first market open after a long holiday weekend. So, you have a tremendous amount of pent up orders. People raring to go. People back from the summer. A lot of people hadn't traded in a while. Also, truth is, many people aren't even back yet. This is traditionally fairly quiet. Which is better, ADP or JOLTS? Calvin, why do you ask? Why do you ask? ADP is a family money trade. Um, JOLTS is the most inconsistent, impossible event we've ever seen. That's why it's impossible. It's the first time, it's one of the only reports ever that I don't have a setup for. I don't have a setup. I don't have a setup. I tested the yen. I tested the euro. I tested RTY. We've traded ES. We've traded gold. We've traded traps. We've tried breakouts. The problem is it trades with ISM manufacturing. It trades with other reports. It doesn't often trade by itself. It has moved the ES phenomenally. It has whipsawed the ES unbelievably. JOLTS is a report that I'm serious. I don't have a setup for it. It might be better to wait for the market open and look for a move after the news. If there's a magnet setting up after the news, that might be the best way to trade it. It does not have a reliable setup because it doesn't trade the same way. It often trades with other news, and it does not react in a steady way month after month after month. So that's the problem with JOLTS. That's why it's impossible. And I have a million videos. I can show you the videos. Last month, it traded with consumer confidence, and it didn't fill. Consumer confidence didn't move at all. If you trade JOLTS today, it's literally what should I do? I mean, I don't have a setup that I would recommend, and I'm just telling you the truth. I think it's potentially unsafe for a trap because the market could just move too much for a trap. It could blow right through it. Last month, it didn't fill. How do you figure it? July 1st, it missed the ES trap by one tick. That was a 20 tick move. It moved 19 ticks on the spike. The YM whipped. Gold didn't fill. We'll get to JOLTS in a minute. Let's talk about the open. I'm going to trade something because I'm crazy. And I just think it could also be, uh, that was clickbait, Calvin. That was clickbait to get everybody to come to the trade room. Um, no, I didn't mean it as unbelievably good. I'm sorry you took it that way. I just meant it's unbelievable how difficult it is. I should have said it's unbelievably difficult. Next time I'll do that. I'm not clickbaiting the trade room. That's silly. Um, all right. YM, we've got a new setup, and we like it. So far, we like it. All this Fed stuff, it's enough to make you pretty crazy. But it's not going to end until there's a court ruling. So, okay, 9:15. We have 15 minutes. Welcome. Hello to everyone on YouTube. Thank you for watching. I hope the stream is working. I don't know if anybody wants to check the stream. If you're not trading, the stream on my laptop does not look right. It just doesn't look like it's working. But on my desktop, it looks fine. Up, you know what? I think it's working. Nitin, did you email them yesterday or no? I'm getting the feeling you didn't yet. They respond really fast. So I would email them and ask them what happened. I wouldn't sit by without making them answer. They're really quick. That's one great thing about Bullinox. They answer their emails, within an hour most times. So I'm going to load my YM template. We have a range trade. So you're going to go down to range trade, range start time 9:24:59. 5 ticks above, 5 ticks below the range. Show the range graphics on chart is checked. They may try to blame it on Ninja. That's usually what happens. The activation range end time is 9:30. I've got two targets. Position 1 and position 2 are both ones. Target 1 is 15, target 2 is 25, my stop is 25. If my first target is hit, I'm moving my stop to break even minus 10 ticks. I may remove that going forward, but right now I'm leaving it. Yesterday, it did eventually hit our break even minus X ticks, but ultimately it did work. And we did scalp after the first trade yesterday because the low of the day was definitely in play. I'm using my prop account just for opens and closes. That's the account I'm using. That account is slowly growing since we started doing opens. I guess it's 3 or 4 weeks. Bull and Ox will blame Ninja. I don't know who Ninja will blame. Ninja usually gives a good answer. Bull and Ox, I think they're a pretty good company, but they will pass the buck. No one would ever admit maybe it's overloaded data feeds. Is that possible? I don't know. I'm not knowledgeable enough to know that. Let's go over this range trade one more time from scratch. Right click the chart, click strategies. Turn trade type into a range trade with the arrow. It's not a breakout, it's a range trade. Slide down to range start time 9:24:59. 5 ticks above the range, 5 ticks below the range. The range end time up top is 9:30. Position 1 is a 1, position 2 is a 1. No, 9:30, not 9:30:30. 9:30. Target 1 is 15 ticks, target 2 is 25 ticks. The stop is 25 ticks. If it hurts, I'll quit. If it hits my first target, BE minus 10. In the account, put it on the account you're trading, label the trade. My trade is labeled YM open range. If you want to save a template, you click template, save, and type the name of the template you want to save. Apply it, okay it, turn it on in the control center, check the box, setting up a second setup, reverse continuation YM, double click news trader, put it on reverse continue. I'm just doing one position. I'll do a 25 tick target. I'll do a 50 tick target. Sometimes the market can move. All you need for a reverse continuation is one position. Position 1's a 1. A target. Use whatever target you like. It's not in stone. This is a discretionary scalp. And I'll use a 35 stop. And then I will go down in the account field. I will trade it in the same account, number 15, and I will call it YM reverse continue. At 9:25-ish, our range will start drawing, and I'll turn that trade on also. On the MNQ, I'm trading a breakout at the moment. Right click strategies, right click the chart, click strategies, double click news trader, leave it on breakout. I'm going to load my template. MNQ open. September 2nd is dated. I always date my templates. Most recent template is the most recent way I traded. Activate 929.59 with a bracket of 30. Bracket of 30. Position 1 is a 1, position 2 is a 1. That just means you have one contract for each position. Target of 25, target of 50. If it hits my first target, break even minus 20. I want that stop out of the way. I'll use 100 on the stop. Some people go up to 250 on a stop. I think generally the 100 is plenty big in most cases. You can always change your stop on an open. You usually have time. I think 100's about what I want to risk at the moment. And I'm going to label it MNQ open. Right now I'm going to leave it on sim and apply it and put the time on 0 to check the bracket management. Apply it and OK it. Turn on the trade. There's my brackets. Little bit worried about the entry at the high of the day. The NQ really bursting up. I don't like entering at the high of the day. It's MNQ. Life will not end if it doesn't work, so I'll leave it alone. I'll let it trade. It could certainly. The MNQ is very bullish this morning. Google News was very meaningful. They're not going to break up Google, even though they are a, what do you call it? What's the word? Google is a monopoly. It is what they didn't say it was. Now I'm going to go back. Now I'm going to change. What's the word I'm looking for, folks? Google is a what? Monopoly. What's the other word? The judge said no. They're allowed to keep Chrome and all their stuff. Which is no surprise. Personally, they were a private company that was so smart. They became the main place people go for something. Should the government break that up? It's somewhat complicated. 30 was our bracket. We tested the bracket, so I'm putting the time back to 9:29. In a free society, in a libertarian society, they would not be bothered. They would be left alone. The part of the problem is the abuse that so many of these companies heap on us. Needs regulation to be controlled. That's the problem. I'm also going to set up an MNQ, reverse continuation. Corporations run amok is what we see. Poisoning our food. I don't have to tell you all the things that corporations do that they shouldn't. Reverse continuation, change their logos. Two contract position one position. 50 target, 50 stop. This is a discretionary trade, nothing more than that. What's the word I'm looking for? Monopoly. What's the other word for a monopoly? Google is a monopoly. They are, come on, somebody help me out. Position 1, 2 contracts. 50 target, 50 stop. MNQ, market open account. Everything goes in that. Oh, no. MNQ is cash. MNQ is cash. So let me change the other account. Yesterday I had it on the market open. I didn't see my orders because of that. You have to always make sure your chart trader is on the right account. It matches the account chosen inside the software, or you won't see your orders. So always make sure your chart trader is on the account the software is set to. Okay. So here's our range being drawn on the YM, not oligarchy. No, it's a very business word. It's a big business word. Google is they're a monopoly. Are they what kind of the business practice? If you read the judge's ruling, it's in there. Conglomerate, nope. Behemoth, nope. Nope. It's a business. It's like oh, I'll look it up. I'll look it up. I scalped gold a little bit yesterday, and it was must have been, when did I scalp gold? No, was it this morning or last night? I don't even remember now. I got to show you guys the Australia GDP. Did anybody try trading Australia GDP last night? I hate not having a trade room when a report doesn't work for like 2 years and then it works. I told everyone in the trade room yesterday that I would trade Australia's GDP, but it wasn't worth having a trade room. And it was an easy money making report. No whipsaw, which Australia almost always does. We had a three bracket. If you remind me, I'll show everyone. It moved, I think it was 15 ticks, which is not a lot, but with a three bracket and 1 or 2 ticks of slippage, add an extra contract, which is what I did, and you could still walk away with $100. If I'm going to trade at 9:30 at night, if I'm going to trade, get up in the morning, trade at 9:30 at night, minimum amount to make has to be preferably 100, but 50 is barely tolerable. 50 is barely tolerable profit. Because 50, just covers your expenses and a cup of coffee. So this is the range. If we go 5 ticks below the range, we get filled to the short side. If we go 5 ticks above the range, we get filled to the long side. That's how the range trade works. And then the MNQ is on the right. The MNQ, we have a 30-tick bracket. If we break the bracket, we go short. If we pop the bracket, we go long. If we burst up to the bracket, all right, and then I'm the only hope for JOLTS is a gigantic trap. Let's watch. Now, if the YM will test the high, it'll hit our first target. Expanding my target, trying to trail. Not sure I'm going to get the opportunity. Pulled back, so $95 profit on the YM. MNQ filled slowly this morning, chopping around. Very bullish. I'd like to at least see a fill. First target. Shrunk the stop, just trading micros. Tiny, tiny, tiny profit. Moved the target. Moved the stop up a little bit. Um, Tiny profit. Barely just covers expenses. Winner, winner, two winners again, though. It's still a winner is a winner. Turning off the YM open breakout. YM, as I said, it probably makes sense not to move the stop at all. This is going to test the high, right? Certainly looks like it. I'm just really gun shy this morning. I'm going to wait on JOLTS to take a second trade. MNQ, as bullish as it is, it's doing more of a gap fill than anything else. MNQ open gets turned off because it already made a small profit. The YM range trade worked nicely. Target one, but it did not yet test the high. You have to think real hard about where you're going to put your stops. With the MNQ, your stop must be below the VWAP and your stop must be below the 6 p.m. open. So you should not really have been, hopefully not stopped out on the MNQ if you're looking at levels to help you with stops. This is an area you want to put your stop below, not at 15 ticks below. If it goes there, then I can accept being stopped out. But if it does what it did right here and just tags it, because most retail new traders will put their stop where it just tags it, then you're a victim. I don't want to be a victim. I want to think smart. Okay? PP and low of day, that's a future stop. Okay? That's a future stop. It's too far away to be a stop on the market open, in my opinion. Okay? Now, it's not surprising what TJ is saying. On his platform, in his trade, the MNQ didn't get to his first target. It just barely got to mine. So, depending, there could be delay when his orders went on the chart compared to mine went on. Just because I had a tiny winner doesn't mean everyone would have the exact same trade. It's very important to realize that, especially with a market open type trade where there's a lot of volatility. Just going to watch price for another minute or two, then we have to talk about JOLTS. I do think the YM is going to go to the high. Where would I put my stop? That's part of the problem. The stop on the YM, right before the open, the YM made a low. That's a big stop. That's a very big stop. But it's a proper place for a stop before the upward move. It's not unreasonable. You're above the PP now, and you're above the 6 p.m. open. That's a potential stop, maybe below that last high candle, right? If you were testing for a high of day. Okay. Nice, TJ. Very nice, Roz. Very nice. As per DMM. Now that I don't know what you mean per DMM. Here comes the YM. I believe it's going to test that high. Now it's a little bit way too much of a chase, although that is a magnet. Also, it's a nice, would have made a nice magnet setup. That's another way you could trade opens. I got you. I got you, Ross. Another way you could trade the open, instead of using our setups, set up a magnet. You could do a custom magnet for a test of the PP and the 6 p.m. open. I'll tell you what, I'm going to do a magnet webinar this week. I have to schedule at least one webinar a week. I'll do it Friday because it's already Wednesday. And I'll show how to use magnets on the open. Let me make a note so I don't forget. I just didn't want to even do a webinar this week because of all the emails from the sale. I wanted to give everyone a break, but I have to do one webinar a week. It's just the rules that we go on. All right, just watching. I'm turning off everything, unchecking everything. Right click, I'm removing everything. Removing everything. And time to talk about JOLTS. JOLTS is a report. It's a jobs report, so it has importance. It does have importance. Calvin, you did a revenge trade on your new accounts. Uh, is 9:35 a new time that you're trading? Everything you do is so random sometimes. It's like the key for me is I have to have set times. Set times. No random 9:35 trade unless I'm doing it every day at 9:35. Otherwise, it's just random and it has less meaning. It really has less meaning if it's random. Now, if you're saying 9:35 is a good time to do the break, the open breakout, I'm with you 100%. I'm fine with that. I like that time a lot. So if we're adding 9:35 as a revenge trade setup, I'm good with that. And I assume you mean NQ, right? All right, everybody. All right, everybody. So we are streaming. We're going to keep our YouTube stream on through JOLTS. So here's the problem with JOLTS. Last month, this is what JOLTS looked like. Last month, JOLTS traded with CB consumer confidence. We had an ES trap trade, 30 and 50. All right. I'm not doing that today. It's very, very strange the way that it moves. We've had some 18s, we've had some 14s on consumer confidence. On JOLTS, the setup seems safe, but we have seen blown up traps more than usual over the past month. And that's only one or two, but that's all you want, or three maybe. That's enough. A blown trap hurts a lot. Last month, let me get the right month. Not April, it was July. We were watching the ES on the left. We were trading in our prop on the ES. Gold, we were just watching on the right. Consumer confidence and JOLTS together. JOLTS came out first, didn't move the market. I think consumer confidence was better than expected, which surprised me. Yeah, it was better than expected. And it just didn't do very much on those instruments. And I checked a lot of other instruments. It really was not a very good mover. Then there was another JOLTS report with ISM manufacturing. So that's 2 months in a row. JOLTS has not traded by itself. It's almost impossible to come up with a setting for a report that trades by itself when it hasn't traded by itself the last 2 months. How do you know what the market's thinking about JOLTS over the past 2 months? You don't. You don't know. ISM is important. JOLTS is important. They both affect the market potentially. We had an MES trap that month in July, early July, and we had a gold trap and a gold breakout. The gold breakout had 5 no winners out of 6. So the breakout wasn't recommended at all. And this is the JOLTS conundrum. We had an ES trap on the left. We had a gold trap on the right. We were watching micro gold in the middle. Gold had a pretty big move, pretty big breakout type move. The ES failed to fill by 1 tick, rendering the trap null and void because it then started going in the opposite direction. And then you're not allowed to take that direction. If the first spike is down in a trap, you don't want to allow a fill to the with the up move because that's the reversal. So you have to understand a little bit about a trap trade. If your first move fails to fill just because it wasn't big enough, generally we're not going to allow the move on the other side because that's the theoretical reversal. June 3rd, JOLTS by itself. We had that ES trap smaller than July, and we had an ES breakout. Both. I mean, this is how difficult JOLTS has been. That we had a trap and a breakout on the same instrument. That tells you we are struggling to find a good setup. And I was looking at micro gold all the way on the right. All the way on the right. Now, the ES on the left broke out, failed to hit the first target. It was a very poor fill, not surprising. Way up the candle. The trap didn't fill. All right. You could see initially the trap has not filled. 33 seconds. Normally I like to give a trap a minute. At least a minute. And everything struggled for a little bit. It just hung around. Then the ES finally pushed up, and it did work as a breakout. It took 3 minutes almost. Okay? 2.5, 2 minutes or so. Wait a minute. So let's see what actually happened there. Finally, it hit that first target. Let's see. So it's 2 minutes. Canceled the trap. 2.5 minutes. Still not much movement. JOLTS was on the positive side. And then finally, it goes up 2 minutes and 39 seconds. I'll show you another one. Why I'm showing you so many of these, because I don't make this up. April, it traded April 29th. It was consumer confidence again. I don't make this up. JOLTS, if it trades by itself, it's 50% of the time not. trading by itself. So we don't have a great setup. April, with consumer confidence, the trap was great initially on gold. I say initially because right now you've got a profit. Then it's losing the profit and it does reverse. So it was a trap on gold back in April. The ES, it looks like sometimes a video doesn't play well. This video is not playing well. The ES, we just had a reverse continuation setup. We had a breakout on the far right in Sim. It filled long, I'm sorry. We had a trap trade on the far right. And it did do a very nice reversal in April on the ES trap. It burst down and then pulled back up. Burst down, pulled back up. That was in Sim. That was in Sim. And we used 30 and 50. 30 and 50 on the trap. 30 and 50. If you look at a spike sheet, which tells us how big have the spikes been, as big as 60 in April. So using 35 and 60 might make sense. We have 40, maybe 40. 40 is a little big for that first tier. 35, 40, and 60 actually might be a viable trap that would work if you get a pretty big ES move. The question is, there are no winning setups for JOLTS. I don't have any. Every now and then you'll get a breakout for all, right? Every now and then you'll get a breakout for all. So set up a gold breakout with a bracket of 20, targets of 10 and 30 with a stop of 25. That's a $500 risk on a report that has just as much of a possibility of whipping as it does being a breakout. It's an unknown. It's an absolute unknown how to trade this report because it's inconsistent more than any report I've ever seen. You could do an ES trap if you want big risk. And I like a big risk every now and then. If I were going to trade an ES trap, I don't care if I don't get filled, right? There's no harm done to life if you don't get filled. So I'm turning the trap on at 9:59:55. My stop is 20 and my tier 1 is going to be 40 and my tier 2 is going to be 60 ticks. My stop is 20. I'm labeling it ES trap. And I'm going to trade that because I'm crazy. If you want to reduce your risk even more, just trade one tier and make tier 1 60. And position 1 is a 1, position 2 would be a 0. It's possible that JOLTS will burst and reverse. It's possible. So I'll take one of my prop accounts that's doing rather poorly and I'll trade JOLTS. I'll try that trap. I'll try it. 40 and 60 on the tiers. 40 and 60 on the tiers. Stop of 20. Apply it. Okay it. And the account that I'll use is my number 21, my worst prop account. And that account's, well, I'd rather trade it on an account that's not up money today. So I'll put it in 20, which is not a big winning account either right now. 20 is down about $700. It's not terrible. So trading it in number 20. And I would also set up an ES reverse continuation. ES reverse continuation. One position. One position. Do a 15 tick target. We'll do a 20 tick stop. Just a discretionary possible trade. Label it ES reverse continue. Apply it. Okay. Where did I put it? I put it in 20. So let's put it in 20. Reverse continue in 20. I think maybe the yen could be very interesting because in all the testing I did on ISM manufacturing, ISM services, the yen does move in the least insane way of most instruments that I've tested. In other words, it seems to whip less. It seems to be a pretty interesting instrument to trade these days on US news. Gold, GC 1225 will definitely move big time on the JOLTS report. We are in the middle of, not quite the middle. The ES is where it was. Let me just check one thing. Just curious about something. So bear with me, folks. That doesn't make sense. I'm just looking for something. Something's not making sense at the moment. All right, so we are right now below the VWAP, all right, on the ES. I'm going to set up a gold reverse continuation only. I'm not interested because of the way this report's been trading to just take multiple random trades. There's too much money to lose, too much hard work that's gone into a lot of the trading that we do. I'm going to do a 25 target and a 25 stop. One position on gold. Position one is a 1, 25 on the target, 25 on the stop. Simple reverse continuation. Simple reverse continuation. Labeling it GC reverse continue. I know that there is a possibility you could get a move, a breakout for all today. I don't think it's a particularly great possibility. It's a possibility. That's all it is a possibility. It's nothing special that it's not a guarantee that it could happen. It's just one of the things that could happen on the JOLTS report. You could also get a trap trade that works. You could also get a whip that works. It's a report that honestly is completely inconsistent, and I have to treat it that way. So reverse continuation on gold. Paul, unfortunately, at the moment, I cannot do that. There is a Zoom command in the trade room. I'm in the process. Well, here's the problem. In order to be able to trade all the charts I need to trade, I have to use high resolution, and our trade room software unfortunately doesn't support the resolution, the high enough resolution. There is a zoom command, and I also will always repeat the setup multiple times. I'm in the process of going to probably change the monitor I'm using right now, which should increase the resolution shortly. I have it on eBay right now, and I may just change monitors this week anyway. The problem is I often need 3 setups at one time, and it's really hard to do on a lower res monitor. Anyway, the gold setup, the reverse continuation, right click the chart. We don't have a lot of time before this now. Right click the chart, turn the trap trade into a reverse continuation. Position 1 is a 1. Target 1 is 25 ticks. The stop is 25. All you need for a reverse continuation, choose the account. Paul, you should probably be on sim because you're brand new. So I wouldn't trade real money, especially not on this report. Account should be on sim or whatever you're trading. Label the trade under label GC reverse continue. Apply it and OK it. That puts the setup into your control panel right here. And then click the enable button, and you have an instant long button and an instant short button, which you could use after the news is released and there's an initial move. On the trap trade, we only have a minute and a half, so right click the chart, click strategy, double click trap trade. Position 1 is a 1, position 2 is a 1. The trap trade activation is 9:59:55. The stop is 20. Sometimes the software will increase the stop because it just has some intelligence in it. Tier 1 is a 40. Tier 2 is a 60. Those are brackets, 2 above the price, 2 below. Choose the account, label the trade, apply it, and OK it. And Paul, I do have this recorded, so I can easily, if you send me an email, I can happily get the recording to you. Okay? And the zoom is in the upper right corner. It's not a perfect solution. I wish the company supported the resolution properly. There's no reason in this day and age. I don't understand why they don't support higher res. I'm not doing anything on the right screen. It's a discretionary trade. I'm going to manage this trap trade for the ES because it could lose a significant sum. Understanding, folks, I have no idea what this report's going to do, and I'm just doing this because I want to see if the trap has any chance of working. I think we won't get filled. That's what I think. So gold had a little bit of a move up. We had lower jobs numbers than expected, lower than expected. You could see it was not a very big move, not gigantic, not gigantic. So this report seems to have lost a lot of influence. However, you do have very bullish gold. Gold yesterday was also very bullish. I think gold's made up about $70 in the past 2 days. Now you have a change in direction. This is a canceled trap trade. It was just way too big to be a trap. Now we do have a reverse continuation setup. I'm just not comfortable. I just honestly don't know what I would do with this report. The news is a little bit negative. Gold already did the magnet an hour ago, right? 9:30, half an hour ago, the gold already did the magnet. I'm not dying to jump into another magnet, another test of the high. Yeah, it could do it. It could do it. But you're going to take risk, a couple of $100, or if not more, of risk, and there's no guarantee. And then the ES, honestly, I just don't personally have an ES trade. We're in the middle of ranges. We're in the middle of ranges. We're right at the VWAP. The news hasn't moved the market all that much. I mean, actually, if you look at the trade candle has moved, but the trap didn't come close to filling. It didn't come close. Look, let's watch for a few minutes. Let's watch for a few minutes. Paul, I was a TradeStation user. I'd always wanted to write our software for TradeStation. Always wanted to do it. It's a question of, are there enough TradeStation users out there? I wonder how TradeStation's doing as a broker these days. I always loved I loved the platform. Always loved the platform. They have the best dome. You can trade on their dome. You can easily place orders on their dome. Charts are phenomenal. The data's a little bit slow, or it's years ago. This is years ago. I haven't been on TradeStation in a very long time. Before they sold to the Japanese companies, it's probably 5 years. But I also worried about the speed of their data feed. I did not think their data feed speed could handle breakout trades. But in this day and age, with the data feeds we see with prop accounts, TradeStation would probably hold its own. I think it might be too late because I don't think a lot of I don't know what their user base is anymore. See you, Roz. I'll see you tomorrow. I don't know how big their user base is. It would not be that hard to write a breakout strategy for TradeStation. I actually, somewhere buried on an old computer, I had hired a programmer before I found our company 10 years ago. It's probably 12 years ago. I hired a programmer to write a TradeStation script. I think the ES wants to test the high. So let's say, you want to take a trade. You don't want to risk the ES. You could throw your charts on MES. MES 09 space 25, right? You could set up a magnet or you could set up a reverse continuation. Reverse continuation's easy and quick, so I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to label it reverse continuation ES. I've got it live in an account, and I'm going to just put two contracts, one position. And I'll do a target of 30 ticks and a stop of 40 ticks. It's micros, okay? It's not that expensive to experiment. So I've got a reverse continuation. Position 1 is a 2, target of 30, stop of 40. I chose an account to trade it in, and I labeled it ES reverse continue. Apply it and OK it. All right. I still have a gold reverse continuation available to me. Here's my ES, so I turn it on. If I truly think the ES is going to test the high, then I could press the instant long, right? I could press the instant long. But I'm not so sure that's where we're going. This report was less jobs than expected. And the market seems to be sort of consolidating after the news. It's not really bursting, or you know what I mean? It's just I don't have the motivation to take a trade here. I don't have the motivation. I'm just showing you how easy it is to do it. I did TradeStation was very reliable. It never went down. Um, I always thought that their pricing was reasonably fair, if not good. My memory is only good things about TradeStation as a broker. They treated me great. I had never had issues. Never had issues. Now, I just don't know how popular they are compared to how much they used to be. You don't hear very often someone's on TradeStation. We hear TradingView. We hear, hey, you don't get much multi-charts either. Multi-charts is uses the same programming language as Ninja as TradeStation, about 98% compatibility. But I don't think a lot of people are on multi-charts either. TradeStation did not have market playback, which Ninja Trader does. That was prime. That's a prime feature we need from a platform so you could test your trades. Um, Multi-charts does. Multi-charts is like a TradeStation clone with more features. With more features, but I don't think multi-charts is very popular. They never offer a trial that I've seen. I just don't think it's that popular. That's the problem. TradeStation did have very high commissions. Paul, didn't they combine all the, did they ever, right, that was a problem. They didn't have separate, they had separate accounts for futures and options. It was a pain in the butt. It was a pain. Did they ever combine it all? That was a pain. All right, I'm gonna close our YouTube stream, folks. So, folks on YouTube, we had a nice market open, two winners. JOLTS, we knew JOLTS didn't offer a great opportunity, but thanks everybody on YouTube. Hit the like button, hit the bell so you know when we'll be streaming again, and we'll see you on YouTube tomorrow. We will be streaming the open again.